A big thank you to Jero for sponsoring today's video on Patreon. Frodo and Samwise versus Bysandra, Lord of the Nazgul, and Elrond. Built Lord of the Nazgul myself, not sure if you'll see it this week or next, but you can expect that soon enough. Not an awful opening hand, but I would like some ramp, as I usually do in my opening hands, so yeah, we'll go for a free mulligan on that. Okay, that's looking a lot better. We've got card draw, which I'd rather have over anything else, so we will keep. Turn 1 Sol Ring for the Dimir player, and that is off of Winding Canyons. And we draw into Trail of Crumbs, so we'll get down the tapped shock land. That will make it so that the other lands come in untapped. In Search of Greatness is the first spell from Elrond, noteworthy that the Shire is in play as well. Skyclave Relic will fix one of the colours for the Lord of the Nazgul. Looks like he's missing a land drop though. Okay, and we see another member of the Fellowship, Merry, Warden of Isengard. That can partner with Pippin, fetch it out of the library. Pippin's actually pretty good in this deck because I do have some Seedborn Muse shenanigans and we'll be able to make consistent foods with that. And I think we're fine getting down a Sunpetal Grove, and let's just focus on trying to get into some ramp. We'll go for the Sylvan Library on turn 2. Need to get some food into play before we start swinging in with Frodo, because obviously Frodo can be tempted by the ring as long as we have pretty much gained life from a food in this deck. Now a battle from the Simic player, Invasion of Pyrulia, revealing to us with that a Chance Met Elves. Okay, there's the Time Twister from the Lord of the Nazgul, so eagerly trying to get hold of a land by the looks of it, and it is a Darkwater Catacombs which they can make Dimir with. It is the Lord of the Nazgul that is going to be defending the battle apparently. Managing to get down a Talisman of Dominance as well, so down to 5 cards again. Esper Sentinel from the Boros player, and going for the double spell, that is a Dead Iron Sledge. So we're into arguably a worse hand here. There's a Prize Pig, we can draw 2 more cards here. Alright, Cavern of Souls, we're up against a couple of blue players, so it's probably an intelligent idea to keep hold of that. Parallel Lives, yeah, we can sit that on top, and let's just keep 1 card, pay 4 life for that. And I think getting Frodo on the go wouldn't be the worst thing, so if we drop the Cavern of Souls, name Halfling with that, although we have 8 cards in hand, so maybe getting Summoning Sickness away from the Prize Pig. And that'll be a little bit of ramp for us. Yeah, we'll just do that here. Noteworthy that I did ask for a power level 5 game and told my opponents in the lobby that I was playing Hobbit Tribal, so looks like we're getting a bit of a Lord of the Rings game on the go, and hopefully it's an even match between everyone here. Search of Greatness allows them into an Elvish Spirit Guide, and then we see Elrond, Master of Healing, Military Intelligence for the Dimir player, and paying into the Esper Sentinel by the looks of it. And throwing out a Search for Azcanta as well, so a surprising lack of instants and sorceries from the Lord of the Nazgul. If you haven't seen the deck already, then I've built this with cantrips and spell slinging in mind. So I think there's less than 10 creatures in the deck, and pretty much reliant on Lord Nazgul to make our creature army for us. High ground for the Boros player. Each creature you control can block an additional creature. Noteworthy, deciding not to equip the Esper Sentinel with the Dread or Dead Iron Sledge, so maybe has Generous Gift or Chaos Warp, something like that available. Alright, so we have an additional mana now thanks to the Prize Pig. Obviously know about the Parallel Lives on top. There's an Academy Rector. And Sting, Glinting Dagger. Like I said, there are some tap shenanigans here. That would have been good on Pippin if we'd managed to dodge the Time Twister. But I don't see much of a use for it at the moment, so let's put that on top, and yeah, we'll keep hold of the Parallel Lives this time. Then we're going for a Bayou, and I did want to get down both of my commanders here. I'm wondering if just going for Academy Manufactor would be alright. Might be a bit risky just playing it out, maybe we just have to discard a land this turn. So anyway, let's go for Frodo, because we definitely want the Summoning Sickness away from that. And we can make use of Frodo to shuffle our library here because it is a partner creature. So we can fail to find and make use of the shuffle effect with the Sylvan Library. Look at some fresh cards on top. And we'll get out Sam, Loyal Attendant as well, and we'll make our first food token at the beginning of the turn, or at the beginning of combat it'll trigger. So I think we're fine to just get rid of... We'll get rid of the Woodland Cemetery over the City of Brass. Not seeing a 5-drop from the Search of Greatness, but the Elrond does trigger and put in a plus counter on the Spirit Guide. And then they scry off the Grey Havens as well, so a plus counter on the Commander. Followed by another Sol Ring. And I don't think, no, our opponent didn't play into the Esper Sentinel there. Then we see a Preordain for another scry. Now Cultivate. And the Ozolith, 4 cards left in hand for the Simic player. And now the 4-4 turns in towards the battle, and that will take this thing out, making a beast token, or a beast creature, a 4-4 with Trample, Ward 2, and other transformed permanents you control have Trample and Ward 2. Okay, and then this player deciding to scoop, because that's what happens. Guardian of the Gateless. So it might be an Angel Tribal deck. And then Beseju goes onto the Sylvan Library. We don't know what's on top of our library, so we can go for the shuffle here. That was a Beseju from the Elf player, of course. Alright, we're getting to another Hobbit. This time it is Rapacious Guest. And we're looking to hit with Frodo this turn, so yeah, we should be able to get through to the Simic player alright. Maybe getting this down first would be a good idea so that we can make more food. So I think we're fine to drop the Shire. Prize Pig is going to untap when we gain life. So throw down the Black Hobbit. Okay, I'm now seeing a Summoner's Pact from the Esper player, or the Simic player I should say. They can't pay for the Esper Sentinel. That is Tatyova, Benthic Druid that they have gone for. If they drop a land next turn they'll be able to afford it. Oh, actually they can, thanks to this thing, they can play it without paying the mana cost, because their highest CMC is 4 at the moment. Anyway, Hobbit enters play, I assume. Then we want down the Academy Manufactor as well. That way we can make a treasure and a clue token whenever we make a food. So let's go for the food token. It only costs us 1 mana thanks to Sam. That gains us 3 life and it puts a plus counter on the guest. And that is 3 ribbon counters on the prize pig, so they'll be removed and untap the pig. And yeah, nothing to do with the mana unfortunately. We could sacrifice another food token if we wanted to, because we're going to get another one to the Sam here. Probably just going to hold up the Eladamri's Call because we will get a treasure in a minute. So there we are, thanks to the food we get a treasure and a clue as well, like we said. Now go through to the attack phase and Frodo can go into the left, because we should get tempted by the ring here. So yeah, Frodo triggering, and there we see the ring. And I'm assuming we have to choose a ring bearer here. Yep, so we'll choose Frodo for that. And our opponent shouldn't be able to block here. So hopefully next turn we can swing in with Frodo again. And we'll start drawing cards off that thing. We get another food token to the guest because one of our creatures hit. So that's 2 clues, 2 foods and 2 treasures we end the turn with. And we're 3 turns away from fully powering up the ring. So now our opponent has to pay for the Summoner's Pact. Tapping down blue mana is curious, not putting Sol Ring mana into that. Might tell us something about what's in his hand. He's clearly not interested in holding up double blue, so I think we can write out counter magic and mana drain, things like that. Anyway, Tatyova coming into play for free, like we said, off the back of the In Search of Greatness. Then playing a land into the Tatyova, that is a Rivendell, which I have high hopes for. A Wall of Runes now. Obviously our opponent playing Scry Tribal. And the plus counter goes on to the Elvish Spirit Guide. And then it's an Otawara. That is going to bounce the Angel. So 3/3 Flying Angel that can block multiple creatures gets thrown out of the way. And the Simic player's down to just 1 card in hand. And the Elrond goes into the right. So does the 5/5 Elvish Spirit Guide. And we get the Beast creature, a 4/4. I think we just take the damage there. The Esper Sentinel jumping in the way suggests a board wipe, so maybe we should block here, but yeah, I don't fancy losing my creatures. I like everything we've got going here at the moment. Now it's 100-handed one. As long as it's monstrous, it has reach and can block an additional 99 creatures each combat, so pretty much a 3/5 with vigilance. And then the sledge going on there, so we can still get Frodo through. Alright, so let's go for the Eladamri's Call. I'm not entirely sure which creature I want to search up, to be honest. We've got Braids in the deck for sacking clue tokens and surplus of food tokens and the like. So we could go for braids in order to draw some more cards. There's Pippin for a little bit of card advantage, can drag out Merry as well. I think Guillaume might be an intelligent play so that we can give stuff indestructible, so it's not flashy, but I think I'll go for the Guillaume here. Can protect our board a little bit. Alright, so we draw into a Savannah, which keeps us off the City of Brass, so throw that down. And I think it's Parallel Lives for more treasures, and we'll get down the Guillaume as well. Making sure to tap down the pig, because I will go for cracking a food token this turn as well. So with Guillaume into play, we go for a treasure being cracked. Get rid of a food token. So that puts another plus counter on the Rapacious Guest. And it does mean that the Frodo is going to be tempted by the ring again. The prize pig untaps for more mana. And we're just hoping that we're going to get into some card draw. It might have been a good idea to go for card draw with the Eladamri's Call instead of trying to protect our board. But anyway, Sam will make a couple of food tokens, a couple of treasures, and a couple of clues, thanks to the Parallel Lives. So Frodo can't be blocked by creatures with greater power now, thanks to the ring. And this is a 4-4, so we'll swing into the left here, because they'll either block with the wall or they won't block at all. Frodo triggers, and we keep Frodo as our ring bearer. Draws us into a Cultivate because we've been tempted by the ring twice now, so every time Frodo swings in, it's going to draw us a card. So 2 players being hit, one by the Rapacious Guest and one by Frodo, means that it triggers twice. So we get more food, more treasures, and we should be able to get down a Cultivate this turn. Ramp a little bit. So the Academy Rector doing some work for us here. Let's tap down the prize pig again, because we can always gain life with that and untap it. And we're starting to get our surplus of food at this point, so hopefully no one wipes the board on us. Don't know if we've looked at any of our cool new basics yet from Lord of the Rings, but I like to have the basics match the theme of the deck. Alright, and Guillaume will make us a couple of treasures as well, because we had one non-token creature enter this turn. So it would be 1 food, but doubled up again by the Parallel Lives. And now with 1 card in hand, In Search of Greatness is triggering again. Not getting anything out with that though, so just going for the Scry instead, which will put another plus counter on something. This time it is the Beast. Another Scry in Opt, Scry 1 and draw. So plus counter landing on the Tatyova. And then we see Elrond, Lord of Rivendell. So when this or another creature enters under your control, Scry 1. If it's the second time the ability is resolved, the ring tempts you. And the plus counter goes on the other Elrond. A land into Tatyova puts our opponent in top deck mode, and there we see another elf in Findhorn Elves, which triggers a Scry on the Elrond again. So they are tempted by the ring, and they make Wall of Runes their ring bearer. Then Scrying 2 with Rivendell, and the counters go on to the Findhorn Elves, or 1 on the Findhorn Elves, 1 on the Tatyova. This only triggers on the second action of Scry every turn, so they don't get another temptation by the ring. And then our opponent just passing the turn at that. Righteous Indignation. When a creature blocks a black or red creature, the blocking creature gets +1/+1 until the end of turn, so that is a world enchantment that will affect everyone on the board. And we do have a few black creatures in play. Noteworthy that we are obviously up against a red player as well, so we can get a +1 buff whenever we block one of their red creatures. Okay, and then that plays scooping as well. Excellent. I seriously do block more players than I get full games with nowadays. Oh, I meant to crack some clue tokens there as well. Oh well. So I'm assuming the Simic player isn't going to wipe the board on us, so we're in top deck mode now. It'll be fun to go all out into Farmer Cotton, and the treasure tokens will immediately be replaced. In fact, we'll actually ramp with that. Let's drop a Swamp. We can discard the City of Brass to Frodo. A 3 visits should be fine here. We do control 3 or more other forests, so that will come in untapped and it will make us a food token. So I might as well use 3 visits to bring in Gingerbread Cabin. So that triggers, it'll be 2 foods, 2 treasures, 2 clues, same as always. So let's tap down a bunch of treasures. I'm just making this play for the fun of it here, really. And the prize pig can be green mana. So that's going to be 6 into X on the Farmer Cotton, which means we're going to get 12 tokens, and I'm hoping that we don't crash the client here. X is actually 7 there, I miscounted. So that comes in, we get 14 halflings and 14 food tokens, along with all the other tokens from the Academy Rector. Alright, so there we are. End up with a bunch of halfling tokens with their hairy feet, and we get those treasures replaced instantly. So might as well see what we loot with the Frodo, but I am going to go for the Feasting Hobbit here, I think. So maybe we should just make this thing really big and encourage our opponent to block. We are playing into the hands of the Ozolith, potentially, but whatever, it's a fun play. So we go Feasting Hobbit and try and suck up some of these food tokens. We've got 25 in play at the moment, so get rid of these 5, I think. That will be 15 plus counters on this thing because it has Devour Food 3. So for each food we sacrifice, it's 3 plus counters in that case. And we've still got plenty of food to sacrifice to the Frodo and for the Guillaume as well to help protect our board. Rapacious Guest gets bigger because we are eating food. So that is now a 9/9 with Menace. Let's sacrifice a food token before I forget, because we need the life for the Frodo ability, because we do want to be tempted by the ring and try to fully power that thing up. That untaps the prize pig, which we made sure to tap previously. And now Sam is going to continue to make us tokens at the beginning of combat. So we'll swing in with our now 10/10 Menace halfling, and going with Frodo as well, which can be blocked by this at the moment, but I don't think that really matters. So we'll go for the ring on the stack first, because Frodo will draw us a card, it can give us some more discard fodder, and we'll keep Frodo as our ring bearer. Alright, drawing into Seaborn Muse. Don't think we have any of our tap shenanigans yet, but that's good to have in hand. We loot to the ring. Okay, that is a Battle of Bywater, which is very good. So get rid of City of Brass. Maybe be able to Alpha Strike our opponent next turn. Obviously we've decided to attack already. So argument to be made for cracking the clue tokens, but that's hindsight for you. Our opponent's in top deck mode, so decided to get a little bit more of a game out of it while we're showing off the mechanics of this deck. In fact, when we cast this, it's probably going to crash the client because we've got a lot of creatures in play. And we're going to get a food, a treasure and a clue per creature we control. Okay, so the ring is going to trigger on the Wall of Runes, blocking our commander, so they're going to have to sack that at the end of the turn, and that means they won't have a ring bearer anymore. We deal damage to our opponent with the Rapacious Guest, so we make another food token, along with all the rest. And there's the ring trigger on the wall, so they are forced to sack it. So the Ozolith will get its counters, I think it only had 1 on there. Alright, so if we're going to go for the Battle of Bywater, which I think is a good idea to do now, we have to protect some of our creatures. So this can gain indestructible, the Guillaume can as well, and the Feasting Hobbit we never looked at, that is a 17/17. So let's activate the Guillaume and sack a food and a treasure to pay for that. We'll tap down our big creatures, it'll further buff this thing as well when we do this. Yeah, like I said, it'll tap down the creatures, but it is going to give them indestructible, which is what we need in a board wipe. Alright, and our opponent deciding to scoop. Like I said, I think we would have crashed the client there anyway. Our opponent's in top deck mode. We were just looking to give indestructible to Guillaume and this. Then we would have gone for the Battle of Bywater, destroying pretty much all of our opponent's creatures apart from the Mana Dork. Then we would have got a bunch of food per creature we control, including these tokens. And I think that's what would have crashed the client there. Way too many of these tokens in play, I think. But then with all the surplus of treasures that we would have made, would have started cracking these clue tokens. So let's see if the client wants to be nice to us and show us what we would have drawn into. Yeah, we weren't getting into anything too amazing. Scurry Oak has a combo with one of the hobbits in here. I think it's Rosy Cotton, and that will give you infinite plus counters on this, and therefore squirrel tokens, which I thought was quite fitting in a hobbit deck. Got Pip in there as well. That is one of the tap shenanigans that we can do with Seaborn Muse, so pretty much make a food token every single turn, and with the manufactor it will enable itself by making a treasure every turn as well. But yeah, that's the deck. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Apology for the scoops, but I think it shows off the mechanics of the deck quite well. It's by no means a powerful deck. Bear in mind that this was supposed to be a power level 5 game. It's just got a few upgrades in it from the pre-com really. But tried to keep the theme of food and hobbits on brand as best I could. So there's obviously a bit of a trade-off in power there, but you can have a look through the deck list, see what you think of it yourselves. Huge thank you to the patrons as ever. I'm Tribalkai. Thank you for watching.